Hello, I'm Tom Weeks. I'm the developer of Klusterbox, and welcome to this Klusterbox tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to demonstrate dynamic carrier list and the dynamic nature of carrier list and how they change from day to day, week to week, to suit the needs of your investigations. So, for the sake of example, I have created this carrier toothpick and in this station Klusterberg. Okay, now I'm going to add some more clock rings. So let's change the investigation range to reflect those clock rings. Now, the carrier toothpick they've decided that they want to get off of the overtime desired list on the 4th. Right, so let's go to this multi-input, and let's select Tuesday. Set. Okay, so on the 4th, Tuesday, February 4th, they decide they want to get off the overtime desired list. So we can we can change that in the multi-input and press submit. And you'll see right here that the carrier has there's this bifurcation in the carrier list where that carrier has two statuses. Starting at the beginning of the service week, they're on the overtime desired list. Then effective Tuesday, they're off of the overtime desired list. You can also change that if you don't want to use the multi-input function, you can always just go to Edit. And there you'll be able to change by changing this effective date right up here. And you can see changes down here. Okay, so let's enter in another date. So on March 7th, they're going to change their carrier status to reflect that they're leaving the station. So we can go to Edit, and we can go to make sure the date is correct. It's going to be March 7th, and that's correct, but usually it's at the beginning of the service week if they're changing routes and stuff like that. So they're going to change their station to out of station. They could be going to another station that you're managing, and you can make that change here, but say they're going to out of station. And so you press apply, and now that carrier list is going to be empty. Okay? So, because they were the only carrier in that station, so there are no more carriers in the station. So, let's say that the carrier 1 month later decides they want to bid back to the station. So you can find the carrier. Let's say you have 200 carriers here. It's kind of hard to keep track of any one person. You could go back to reports, and carrier status history, and this is going to show you that that toothpick is out of station right now. And you can generate this report, but we're not going to do that right now. Let's go back. So we can go to out of station and retrieve that carrier. So we find toothpick and edit that carrier status, change the effective date to the correct date, April 4th, and they've gotten a new route with a new NS day, so now it's yellow. We're going to change the route to 0002 because that's their new route. And we're going to change the station back to St. Klusterberg since they're coming back to that station. And apply. Okay, so this is going to show this is still on out of station, so we need to return back to St. Klusterberg and select the correct date, April 4th, and set. And now they're back again. So you can see the the progress of their changes by clicking Edit and going down to Status Change History, and this will show you all the changes down here. Also, there's this button, a Status Change Report. You can click that, and this will give you a summary of all those changes that we just made over time. So Klusterbox is going to keep track of changes for carriers so that you're going to have the correct carrier list for whatever day it is you're investigating. Because as you know, carrier lists can change day by day, week by week. Sometimes carriers they don't change anything for years. I mean, sometimes a carrier will stay on the same route for their entire career, and will never change. But a lot of carriers change often enough that you have to keep track of changes. And what this does is that it eliminates the need to recreate the carrier list every single week. So instead of just recreating the carrier list every single week, now you can just make gradual changes. And Klusterbox also gives you this option of being able to go back in time. If you've been doing this for a couple years and you have 2 years worth of clock rings and carrier lists in the database, you can go back to 2 years ago and generate a spreadsheet for that week, and everything will be correct because of the dynamic nature of carrier list in Klusterbox. That carrier list will be correct and specific to the investigation you're doing. You're bringing back up 2 years ago. So that should pretty much explain the dynamic nature of carrier list. So thanks for watching this tutorial, and happy union stewarding.